The ultimate clash of legs has finally arrived in the imagination of action and sports fans worldwide, and it is unlike anything ever conceived before. Boyka vs Ronaldo, The Golden Leg, 2026, is not just a concept trailer, it is a cinematic what-if that feels so powerful, so intense, and so perfectly matched that viewers can't help but wish it were real. This imagined showdown brings together two icons from completely different worlds, united by one weapon that defines them both: their legs. On one side stands Yuri Boyka, the most complete fighter the underground world has ever known. On the other stands Cristiano Ronaldo, the greatest athlete of his generation, a man whose legs have rewritten football history. This is not about fame, trophies, or applause. This is about dominance, discipline, and legacy. Yuri Boyka, portrayed by Scott Adkins, has long been celebrated as the embodiment of martial perfection. His journey through the Undisputed franchise turned him into a cult legend, admired for his speed, flexibility, brutal kicking techniques, and iron will. Boyka is not just a fighter, he is a man forged by pain, humiliation, and relentless self-improvement. Every scar on his body tells a story of survival. Every kick he throws carries years of suffering and discipline. In the underground ring, Boyka is feared not because he is violent, but because he is precise. He doesn't waste movement. He doesn't hesitate. His legs are weapons sharpened by thousands of hours of training, designed to end fights in seconds. Opposite him stands Cristiano Ronaldo, a name that transcends sport. Ronaldo is not merely a footballer, he is a global symbol of physical excellence. His athleticism has been studied by scientists, admired by coaches, and feared by defenders. His vertical leap rivals that of professional basketball players. His sprint speed challenges elite track athletes. His leg strength allows him to strike a football with terrifying power and accuracy. But beyond raw ability, Ronaldo represents obsession with perfection. His discipline, training ethic, and mental strength have kept him at the top for over 2 decades. In this concept, Ronaldo steps away from stadium lights and roaring crowds to answer a challenge no one ever expected him to accept. The story imagines an illegal global syndicate that thrives on spectacle, excess, and impossible matchups. This shadowy organization announces a tournament unlike any other, a kick-only competition where punches are forbidden and legs decide everything. The prize is a staggering $500 million, enough to lure legends out of retirement and athletes into danger. Fighters from different disciplines enter the early rounds, but the world knows the real collision is inevitable. The final fight is designed to break the internet, to redefine combat sports forever. Boyka vs Ronaldo. Martial arts vs football. Underground brutality vs elite athletic refinement. What makes this concept so captivating is how believable it feels within its own cinematic logic. Boyka's kicks are born from combat necessity. They are destructive, unpredictable, and designed to incapacitate. Ronaldo's kicks, on the other hand, come from years of biomechanical perfection. His legs are conditioned for endurance, balance, explosive force, and precision under pressure. In football, he bends reality with free kicks, volleys, and bicycle kicks. In this imagined fight, those same movements become tools of survival. The question is not whether Ronaldo can fight like Boyka, but whether his athletic mastery can adapt fast enough to a world where there are no rules, no referees, and no second chances. The concept trailer builds tension by showing parallels between the two men. Boyka training alone in a dimly lit gym, sweat dripping as he delivers bone-crushing kicks to heavy bags and steel posts. Ronaldo training in a state-of-the-art facility, sprinting, jumping, striking, and pushing his body beyond limits that already seem superhuman. The contrast is striking, yet the similarities are undeniable. Both are obsessed. Both are relentless. Both believe their legs define who they are. As the trailer progresses, the music intensifies, and the idea of the golden leg becomes more than a title. It becomes a symbol of ultimate supremacy. The fight itself, as imagined by fans, would be a masterclass in cinematic choreography. Boyka would dominate early exchanges with low sweeps, spinning kicks, and ruthless combinations aimed at breaking Ronaldo's rhythm. Ronaldo, unfamiliar with direct combat, would struggle at first, relying on footwork, agility, and instinct. But as the fight evolves, so does he. Ronaldo begins to adapt, using his balance, timing, and explosive counters to create space. His kicks are not traditional martial arts techniques, but they are devastating in their own way. A thunderous round strike powered by pure leg strength. A sudden leap that turns into a crushing aerial kick. Each movement reflects his football heritage transformed into combat. Emotionally, the story works because it respects both characters. Boyka is not portrayed as a villain, nor is Ronaldo treated as a gimmick. Boyka fights because combat is his redemption. It is where he finds meaning and honor. Ronaldo fights because he has spent his life proving himself, and this is the ultimate test of his physical legacy. There are no cheap motivations. No forced rivalry. Just two men driven by an unshakable belief in what they represent. The underground audience watches not just for blood, but for history. The idea of the golden leg resonates deeply with modern audiences. In a world obsessed with comparisons, debates, and imaginary matchups, this concept feels like the ultimate crossover. Fans of martial arts get to see their champion tested against a different kind of greatness. Football fans get to imagine their hero beyond the pitch, stripped of the ball, facing raw danger. It taps into the same excitement that fuels fantasy fights and crossover events, but with a unique twist that feels fresh and daring. Visually, the imagined film would be stunning. Gritty underground arenas lit by flickering lights contrast sharply with sleek training facilities and luxury backdrops. Slow-motion shots of kicks landing, sweat flying through the air, muscles tensing under impossible strain. Close-ups of eyes filled with focus and fury. Every frame would reinforce the idea that legs are not just limbs, but symbols of power, identity, and destiny. The sound design alone, from the crack of impact to the echoing breaths between exchanges, would elevate the experience. For YouTube audiences, this concept trailer is pure gold. It combines star power, action, controversy, and imagination in a way that is perfectly suited for viral success. Viewers are drawn in by the shock value of the matchup, then stay for the surprisingly deep narrative. Comment sections would explode with debates. Who would really win? Can athletic greatness compete with combat experience? Is Ronaldo's body too refined for underground violence, or is that refinement exactly what gives him an edge? These questions fuel engagement long after the video ends. Boyka vs Ronaldo, The Golden Leg, 2026, ultimately represents more than a fictional fight. It represents the collision of disciplines, the celebration of physical mastery, and the universal fascination with testing limits. It reminds audiences why they love action cinema and sports in the first place. Not for realism alone, but for inspiration. For the thrill of imagining the impossible. For the belief that greatness, no matter where it comes from, deserves to be challenged. As the final moments of the concept trailer fade out, the message is clear. This is not a game. This is not an exhibition. This is war, fought with speed, power, and will. Only one man can walk away as the owner of the golden leg. Whether you stand with the king of the underground or the legend of the pitch, one thing is certain: this imagined clash leaves an unforgettable mark on the mind. It is the kind of idea that refuses to be forgotten, living on in discussions, edits, and fan dreams. And in that sense, the golden leg already belongs to both of them.